Okay. Welcome everybody to the Jewish community in Waterloo, particularly on campus. My name is Moshe Goldman, together with my wife Rivki and our 7 children, God bless them all. We direct Chabad here in Waterloo. We are right next to the universities. The Chabad house is located at 251 Albert Street, which is literally up the block from Laurier and a few blocks down from the University of Waterloo. And where we're located is right in the heart of the student neighborhood where everybody, whichever university your child is attending, right in the heart of the neighborhood where everybody lives. So rule number 1, there's no excuse. Nobody lives too far to come for Shabbos dinner. We've been here for almost 18 years, and I'm also the Jewish chaplain at both universities, Laurier and Waterloo. That started pretty much after we got here. And in particular for Laurier parents, the Kosher Residence Program, one of the only ones of its kind in Canada, allows Jewish students who keep kosher to request their accommodation to be placed in an apartment together with other students who make the same request. That allows them to keep a kosher kitchen together, and they all negotiate the details of that themselves, but the starting point is there, that everyone's sort of on the same level playing field, all interested in the same thing. It's an amazing thing the university does. And we're very grateful for their support. It's been going on for about 16 years, I think. And we average somewhere in the neighborhood of 70 to 80 students a year going into that program. So a little bit about that. I know a lot of people are interested in that. It is not a standalone building. It's apartments in a given building. There are other apartments with students who are not Jewish, not keeping kosher in the building. But within the kosher apartments, the whole idea is that you're guaranteed to have only other Jewish students who requested kosher in that apartment. The apartments will have a kitchen, which I would recommend. I would recommend kosherizing before you start. And once you're in, your children can keep kosher in their apartment. There is no kosher food available on campus. No prepared meals that are kosher available on campus. There are obviously some snacks here and there, but for food, anyone who keeps kosher on any level has to cook for themselves. The good news is that not too far from campus, there's a supermarket called Farm Boy, and the Farm Boy in Waterloo stocks some kosher meat and chicken. So it doesn't all have to be schlepped in from Toronto. It's very accessible for students. It's maybe a 15-minute walk from Laurier, 3-minute bus ride. It's right up King Street. Very convenient. Lots of students shop there. And to get kosher meat and chicken in Waterloo is doable. The rest you can get at any supermarket, obviously, and you can cook. And people learn how to cook here. In order for someone to apply and get into the kosher residence, 2 things have to happen. Well, first of all, they need to receive an offer from Laurier. Once they accept the offer from Laurier and they're confirmed as an incoming student at Laurier, 2 things have to happen. They have to fill out the Laurier residence application. Laurier will send you an entire package of stuff once your child accepts the offer. And included in that package is a residence application for the university. In the residence application through Laurier, one of the things you need to look out for is to select that you're requesting the kosher residence option in the Laurier residence application. That's step 1. And you submit that and you make the payments and so on. The second thing you need to do is there's a form on our website. The form can be found at jewishwaterloo.com/residence. jewishwaterloo.com/residence takes you to the form on our website, which the university asked us to set up so that I can cross-reference whoever's signing up for the kosher residence program to make sure that it's not misunderstood by anybody, or that people who really have no need for the kosher accommodation don't accidentally get put in an apartment that is kosher, and that way we can make sure that it's serving the people it's meant to serve. Every now and then there's a nice Italian student who says, I just want to live with my Jewish friends. And I have to be the bad cop to say, sorry, you'll see them outside, but we have to make sure that everybody in this apartment is all sort of on the same playing field of a religious need to keep kosher, which is really the main reason and the only reason the university does this. In the residence application with the university, you can request 1 roommate. And between me and you, your child or you can let me know if there's somebody that they really cannot live with. And I can try to convey that, discreetly to the university so that we don't end up with a social problem in the apartments. Um, for any special requests that you might have, you're more than welcome to reach out to the university. I mean, some people have thought in the past I've been wrongly attributed as being the landlord of the kosher residence, the owner of the building. I mean, I would love to own an apartment building, but unfortunately, that's not the case. All I do is partner with the university, partner with the university to help make this program happen. It's not my building. I don't decide anything. I have no decision-making power. I'm really just a consultant and a partner to Laurier. So anything that needs to be decided in terms of roommates, in terms of any other special requests you might have, needs to go through the university. The residence office is a group of amazing people. They're very responsive. I think you just have to bear in mind that there's a few thousand first years coming in. They all have their needs and their requests. Everybody is valued. Everybody is important. Just give them the patience. You're going to get the room assignment sometime in July. And the first few days after that happens, the office is absolutely flooded. So many people want to make changes. So many people have requests, complaints. You're more than welcome, and you're totally entitled to reach out to the office with any and all requests. As best practice to get your case heard, I would just recommend that you're patient and persistent in equal measure. You have to fight and advocate for your kid. You also have to be patient so that they don't throw you out the window. And if you're persistent and patient, they will get to you and they'll do their best to help you. And they really do try their very best. They're really good people in the office there. And then, sometimes people ask, we're not religious, we're not Shomer Shabbos, but I'd like my child to be in this program. How kosher do they have to be? And my answer is always, if all you do is not eat bacon or not eat shellfish, that's already a valid reason to request kosher accommodation. We also have no way of enforcing. This is an honor system. We ask students in the form to commit to the basics of kosher dietary laws, and we trust them. We take their word for it. If somebody's coming in, we assume and we believe, we trust them off the bat that they're going to abide by the basics of kosher dietary laws. It has happened in the past. That wasn't the case. And it jeopardizes the whole program because everything gets back to everybody. There are no secrets in residence. So when somebody orders a pepperoni pizza, guess what? 2 days later, I get an email from the residence office saying, what's going on over here? So we're not exactly inspecting the refrigerators, but if it's blatant and obvious that somebody isn't abiding by even the basics of kosher, it really weakens the whole program. So I would just ask that you have a conversation with your children. And if you're applying for the kosher res, it has to be that there's some intent on a serious, sincere level to abide by kosher law and not to make a joke out of it, because there are a lot of people who are very serious about this and they depend on this for themselves to be able to cook for themselves and literally to have what to eat when they're in university. And if it's just a way for you to be with your friends, it's really not what this program is designed for, and it jeopardizes the whole relationship that we have built up with the university. So it needs to be taken seriously. Other than that, it's very straightforward. And we have, thank God, I think it's about 16 years, like I said, of happy customers who are able to live together. And even in those apartments, it's a mini community. In the best case scenario, they all walk together for Friday night dinner at Chabad every week. And you have who to go with and who to come back with, and it's all fine and dandy. Another question a lot of people have been asking is, which building will the apartments be in this year? The rumor is, and I was told as well, that they're going to be moving it from where it was before. The past few years, it was in a couple of buildings on Leicester Street. I think they're moving it. I don't know where they're moving it to. I was not given that information, so I have no idea. I don't know if they're going to be releasing that information ahead of time. They might not have everything figured out themselves. It really depends on how many people sign up. I know it's very much a numbers game. So either the university knows and isn't telling, or they don't even know yet because they have to see how many people sign up for it, and based on that, they'll assign the apartment somewhere. But inevitably, it's going to be in a decent building, relatively new. The older residence buildings are only dormitory style. They don't have apartments. They don't have kitchens. So there's no way that those buildings would be the space for the kosher program. Kosher program requires that every apartment has its own kitchen, and inevitably it's going to be in such a building. Which one, I don't know. It will not be too far from campus because there is no such thing. There is no such thing as a residence that's far from campus. Laurier is a square block. That's the whole campus, and everything's around that square block. So you're either 2 minutes from campus, or 5 minutes from campus, or 8 minutes from campus by foot. And there's a lot of buses as well. The buses are safe. People take the bus all the time. So if you're a little bit, if you're 10 minutes from campus, you want to take the bus, it's a 2-minute bus ride. Really not going to have a problem. A car is not really necessary, and honestly, it's a liability because there's very little parking around here. So unless your child really needs it for some reason, you can feel comfortable not sending them in a car. Most students don't have cars. And the reality is that it's a headache just because of parking. There's very little parking on campus. There's very little parking in every building. The city designed, the buildings were designed in such a way that cars are disincentivized, and it's been working. So that's pretty much all I have to say on the point of residence. I have a few other things I want to get to, but before I do, I just want to open it up. Does anybody have any questions about residence that I can take now? Sari?
Sorry. Thank you. Thank you for all this. So I just want to confirm, I know we spoke earlier this week, but regardless of where they are in the apartment style, they each have a single room.
Correct. The
Or is
apartment
there a
style
possibility?
apartment. Yeah, there's no double rooms in apartment style res. And I've never seen them. I've never heard of such a thing. I don't think it exists. The double rooms are only in dormitories in the old buildings on campus.
Okay.
So yeah, if you're in kosher res, you're guaranteed to be in apartment style, and if you're apartment style, I would say 99% guaranteed. You're all single rooms, and there's really only one building that was ever used for res that had an ensuite bathroom in every bedroom. That was a building on Regina they used for 1 year. It was a one glorious year for the kosher kids. They got really 5-star accommodations. Otherwise, if it's a 4-bedroom apartment, they'll have 2 bathrooms. So every bathroom is shared between 2 students. If it's a 5-bedroom, I think they have 3 bathrooms usually. So it's rare. I don't think you'll ever have more than 2 people assigned to a bathroom. But definitely only single bedrooms.
Thank you. And
Sure.
what about kids who have just sort of recently accepted and don't have a roommate to request? Are they able to request, maybe a kid who's already arranged with a roommate, or they'll just roll the dice? Like what
So
happens
the
there?
roommate request system works that they both have to request each other. It has to be mutual. That's the only way Laurier knows that you actually both want to be with each other. So if one person requests the other, but the other person requests a third person, then the first two are not going to be together. So really, it has to be mutual. What they do is, if they have a bunch of people who did not request anybody, they'll make an effort to put all of them in the same apartment. In other words, let's say we have 4, I'll call them singles, right? They'll put 4 singles in an apartment because they don't want to have one single together with another 4 people who requested each other. You're the odd one out. You're invading, 2 pairs. So they're very sensitive to that, the social dynamics in an apartment. And that's how they'll approach to the best of their ability. Again, it's somewhat of a numbers game. The numbers have to all shake out, but they're going to try their very best to make sure that if you have a roommate request, you go with them, if it's mutual, and if not, and if you're a single in the system, they're going to try their best to put you together with other singles so that when you walk in on day one, nobody knows anybody, and you're all going to become friends or avoid each other, but you're not intruding on a friend pairing that you're the third wheel and it's going to be really awkward. They try to avoid that. Anybody else?
Actually, I have one quick question.
Sure.
Approximately
Mhm.
from this year that just finished, how many Jewish kids typically are in this residence versus sort of the rest of campus? Do you know
You
what
mean
the
how
split
many
is
Jewish kids
usually?
in general?
Well, A, yes, or how many kids, but I was also curious how many Jewish kids in total are typically in the kosher residence versus all the other residents.
Ah, so I can tell you, if you give me a second, I can tell you how many first years we know of in our system. We have a system of we send out texts for all our events. So we have a system for that. I will tell you, give me a second. We do the class of 2029 and Laurier. So we have 118 names of students who were in first year this past year at Laurier. Now, that's not everybody. I'm sure there's more, but we'll go with what we've got. And then last year in Kosher Res, I can tell you, I think it was about 75.
That's great.
It was in the 70s, I'm pretty sure. I'm just looking if I have it quickly to an exact number, but
Okay, thank you.
it was basically, yeah, I'm definitely comfortable ballparking. It was around 70 something that were in Kosher Res, so about two-thirds, I guess.
Thank you.
Sure, sure.
And the women and men are sort of all on the same floor or whatever?
So they usually have it divided, gender divided by floors. Um, and they won't do mixed gender apartments.
Sure. Yeah,
An apartment is if it's 4 bedrooms, it's 4 girls,
sure.
and so on. The floors generally are, girls' floors or guys' floors. Yeah.
How's the anti-Semitism on campus?
Anti-Semitism is as you know what? There's stages and phases of anti-Semitism and levels. Um, I think low-grade anti-Semitism is always going to be around on some level. I don't know if we've ever had a period of time or a place where there's been zero, but around here it's very low. Um, and there's a few different areas where between students, very rare, very, very rare. Um, you have certain programs in most universities these days are breeding grounds for anti-Semitism, mostly in the humanities, in the arts. And within the arts, certain programs aren't really bad. Like social work at Laurier, I would never recommend to any Jewish student to do a master's of social work at Laurier. The entire faculty is infested. You're doing religion studies, gender studies, you're asking for it. This is where these people hang out. If you're taking business and health science and kinesiology, you're not going to hear much about it from the professors because it's a scientific environment and the sciences don't attract activists like the arts do. So if your child is going into an arts program, get ready. You're probably going to bump into a professor who's going to find a way to, as unrelated as it might be to whatever she's teaching or he's teaching, the prof will find a way to demonize Israel somehow in the course. And the only real thing that you could do about it, unfortunately, is to push back in class. Students have to speak up because professors are the lords of their classroom. And unless they're breaking the law, the university administration will not do anything about it. And the outside organizations that will tell you that we are here to fight anti-Semitism and we are going to fight for your child and we're going to fight for safety and universities have to be held accountable, they're going to write furious letters and make furious phone calls and nothing will change. And nothing has changed. So that kind of stuff is unfortunate. And really the only way to push back on it is for students to push back on the prof in class, which they have every right to do, but they're usually scared to do because they're worried about their grades, which I understand. But without that, the profs just keep going and there's nobody to really hold them accountable in any way. And I'm sorry to be the bearer of sad news, but this is just the reality of life on campus. And with the tools we have right now. If we had, a lot of Jewish donors to the university and they wanted to make us think about it, maybe that would help. We don't really. So that angle is not really available. And we have enemies that are very clever. They know how to dance between the range-ups and not go too far to the point where it becomes an obvious area to penalize them. So there's that. In terms of vandalism, in terms of violence, in terms of risk to your safety, zero. We've had zero attacks. We have zero incidents in all the years that we've been here, and it's already much, much calmer than it was a year or two ago. And I think that overall, the level of anti-Semitism that we've experienced here in Waterloo, and don't take this the wrong way, but I think it's been just the right amount. And what I mean is it's enough to jostle somebody out of their complacency. It's enough to wake this generation up to the reality that not everybody loves us. And it's enough to get them to think a little bit more seriously about, okay, well, I'm Jewish. What am I doing with that information? What am I doing about it? How do I want to relate to that? You're living on your own. You're out of the house. You have to decide for yourself, yes, mezuzah, no mezuzah. Yes, Magen David necklace, no. Yes, Chai, no. Yes, Kippah, no. You have to navigate these things in your context. Do you want to be bullied into silence? Do you want to develop courage? Do you want to talk about it with your friends? Do you want to go talk about it with the rabbi or the rebbetzin or whatever? You're going to have to go through that whole existential process, which I believe is incredibly healthy and positive overall. It's been a net positive watching students go through that process. Many of them come out much stronger as Jews, much more clear. And they have decided for themselves, I'm going to live my life as a Jew. People don't like it. Have a nice day. I'm not here to argue with you. I'm not here to debate how I'm going to live my life. And so I think that we've had the blessing, the blessing has been much stronger than the curse. To whatever degree we've had some anti-Semitism here, it hasn't been that bad, and whatever it's been has been enough to stimulate a lot of growth, really. So I really hope that continues. We keep an eye on things as best as we can. University administrations are mostly going to disappoint you on this front. Just a heads up. That doesn't mean you shouldn't complain when something happens. If something egregious happens, like last year, somebody discovered a swastika in a meeting room on campus in the business building. The problem was the university didn't deal with it for 2 weeks. So we ended up doing a whole prayer rally in front. We got like 25 guys to put on tefillin and say the Shema with the girls in front of the room with the swastika. We took pictures, and then the university came and said, "Oops, we don't know how that happened. We're not sure why we didn't take care of that," and they came and cleaned it up. So I have a great relationship with the university, but I have to say that for the most part, they don't have the moral clarity or the courage to address the issues in their society the way they need to be addressed. And they wait until it gets really bad, and only then do they do something. So we really have to take care of things ourselves the way we can, the way we can strengthen ourselves, support ourselves, protect ourselves, defend ourselves. I think that's really the best investment to make, to invest energy and time in complaining to the authorities of the university, especially when, like I said, when it wasn't a criminal act, the police aren't getting involved, law enforcement's not getting involved. They look at it as a low grade thing. It means much more to us than it does to them. And for them, there's a political cost no matter what they do. And we are the minority. So if you have to choose a group to disappoint, and you're just afraid, and you want to disappoint the group that will cause you the least harm, you disappoint the Jews. And you don't disappoint anybody else because it's a smaller group. And that's it. And what are the Jews going to do? They'll be upset. They'll be scared. All right. Administrations can handle that. We're not going to riot. So I don't mean to be too bitter or cynical, but this is really what I've come to understand from all the years here. And I think that the best part of it is that it incentivizes and encourages us to handle ourselves. We're going to actually be working with the JSN from Toronto to gather whoever wants to be a part of a community security group. We're going to have some training for any events that we have. People need any kind of support for a gathering, and they want to have some trained eyes and ears and arms and legs around. We're going to work on that with the JSN in the fall. And the risk is really low, honestly. We used to hire security for Shabbat dinners right after October 7th. And by the winter already, we stopped. We didn't feel it was really necessary. We have a great relationship with the police. If there's ever anything to be worried about, they'll let us know. It's been really quiet here. So from all the campuses in Canada, Laurier, Waterloo are not near the top of the list for places where it's not so comfortable or not so safe to be a Jew. Honestly. Any other questions on that point? Thank you for sparking that. That was a whole monologue.
Such a good answer. Thank you so much.
Sure. So I want to take a minute to talk about what we do. This is more the happy side of things. What we do to build a community for the students here. So as I mentioned, we're right up the block from campus. We are surrounded by buildings where students live after res, and they rent an apartment. We are completely surrounded by apartment buildings. And many, many students choose to live on our block just for the reason of it's right next to campus, and I'm 30 seconds to Chabad. It becomes an attraction. You want to live in this building or that building, this building. And the Shomer Shabbos kids know which buildings don't have fobs, so they'll be much easier to deal with for Shabbat. No electricity and electronics involved. And every Friday night, with a couple exceptions, we host a Shabbat dinner here. In the beginning of the semester, first 2-3 weeks, it's still nice outside, and we do it in the backyard. We have a big backyard, thank God. The first few weeks of the semester, it's an incredible scene because we have well over 200 students coming for Shabbat dinner. The backyard is packed, and everybody's just, taking a break from the week of all the classes, whatever they had to do, and they're gathering with their fellow Jews. They're coming together as a family. It's a huge family. Lots of people get to reunite with friends they may have had from high school or from camp or whatever they know each other from in the past. People meet up. I haven't seen you since 8th grade. I haven't seen you since camp in grade 9. And they rekindle friendships. They start new friendships. People meet their bashert. We've had a number of couples meet here at different events, whether it's Shabbat dinners or barbecues or classes. And there's a few happily married couples. I think they're happy throughout Ontario that I've met here, which is something we're very proud about. We're really, really happy about. And as a matter of fact, as sort of inspiration, you can't start too early. We have a wall of fame inside the house of pictures of chuppahs of our alumni, which they called me to come officiate the wedding. And there's a wall of like about 12, 13 pictures like that. When you walk in, you see, oh man, boom, 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 boom. Oh, maybe one day I could be on the wall. And you start, the wheels start to turn. So every Shabbat, Hillel here, we get along wonderfully with the Hillel here, and they do usually 2 Shabbat dinners a semester. So we just coordinate And when they're hosting one, we don't host one. But that means that every single Friday night when school's in session, students have a Shabbat dinner to attend. Most of the time it'll be here. Sometimes it'll be at Hillel. Hillel does it on campus. And then Shabbat morning, we always have services. We have a minyan here, Torah reading, lunch, the whole 9 yards. And the same is true, by the way, for every Jewish holiday. Rosh Hashanah is right after school starts this year. It's the first weekend right after moving is Rosh Hashanah. I imagine some students will go home. Whoever goes home, wonderful. It's great to celebrate with your family. But whoever's here, we have the entire roster of holiday programs happening right here. We put up a big tent in the backyard. We have room for, again, over 200 people. And we have all the services. We have the shofar. We have the apples and the honey. We have the honey cake. We have the pomegranates. We even have a head of a fish. Whatever you need for your Rosh Hashanah happens here. All you need to do is show up and sign up and show up. We have, like I mentioned, we have a texting system. All of our events, we don't do Facebook events. We don't do email signups. We don't do website signups. We do texts. We send out a text at the beginning of every week with all the events that are happening that week. And then what students need to do is very simple. To sign up for an event, they text a word back to our number. So let's say it's Shabbat dinner. They'll text the word Shabbat back to the number, a simple text. They get an automatic response. Great, thank you for signing up. See you Friday, 7 p.m. The RSVPs are so important. It helps us understand who's coming. Once we move indoors in November, that's when we start having a cap on Shabbat dinners. And it becomes really important to RSVP because it sells out by Wednesday. And then after that, to my great pain and sorrow, we're sold out. There's physically no room. We can squeeze 105, 110 students inside the house. And unfortunately, we turn people away. Just don't have physical space. We're working on that. It's a long-term solution. But the RSVPs are pretty important. It's important to get in the habit of doing that. And the same is true for every event. So for every holiday, again, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, same story. We have everything going on here. We have a big bagel breakfast at the end. All you need to live as a Jew in Waterloo is available, and there's no charge to the students. All the student events are free. We depend on donations of parents, alumni, community members, foundations. That's it. That's how we run. Chabad is not centrally funded. There's no office writing checks. Part of my job is fundraising. Our budget is a little bit over $900,000 a year, and away we go. And the students are always our welcome guests. They're running on a student budget, and we know that if we were put a price tag on every event, there would be X amount of students that just wouldn't come. We don't want that to happen. So it goes on throughout the year. Sukkot, Simchat Torah, Hanukkah, Purim, Pesach, you name it. Throughout the year, every Jewish holiday, we are having celebrations, programs, events for students, holiday dinners, prayer services, you name it. Hamatash baking, Passover Seders, everything. And so throughout the year, we're here for your child for whatever they need in their Judaism. Obviously, for mezuzah for the apartment, we have a mezuzah lending bank. So you can borrow a mezuzah for a year or for 4 years, give it back when you're done, or you can just buy one. We offer both options. We have mezuzahs for sale. We have mezuzahs for lending. And the main thing is that every student should have a mezuzah on their bedroom and on their apartment and not be afraid. Throughout the year, throughout the semester, we also offer a whole bunch of different classes on Judaism because we really feel strongly that this period of life from 18 to 22, 17 to 22, is a time where your understanding of Judaism can really mature. Whatever Jewish education they had until now was at a certain level. I won't call it childish, but it was elementary school, high school. They're growing up and they change a lot. They mature a lot, hopefully. From 18 to 22, you really go from being an old teenager to a young adult. And that's a big shift. And we want their Judaism to keep up with them. Because if you're growing by leaps and bounds and your Judaism is stuck in 10th grade, it's hard to respect it. it's hard to take it seriously. It doesn't make sense to you anymore. It seems like child's play. And we want them to have a mature relationship with their Judaism. The only way that happens is with classes and discussions. So we offer a bunch of different classes throughout the semester. They're mostly extracurricular, not part of the university. In the winter, I do teach a course every winter at Laurier through Luther. There's the religious college at the back of campus. So I teach a course on some Jewish topic every winter. I rotate between Jewish business ethics, which I just finished this winter, Jewish medical ethics, Jewish philosophy, and Jewish practice. I also teach a course in the summer. I'm doing Jewish music now. And students have taken those courses with me, and they learn a lot. And we get to spend a lot of quality time together. They ask a lot of questions. I try to give them good answers. And it's really an important aspect of the university experience. Besides for the fun stuff and the parties and the social Jewish events, there's plenty of social Jewish events. Shabbat dinner is one big social event. We also want to feed the mind. And inevitably, there are some students that are very curious and very philosophical, and they want to really have these discussions. And it's a great thrill for me and my wife to be able to provide that and sort of guide them in their journey as they grow older, to make sure that Judaism is growing with them and staying vibrant and staying meaningful and relevant. Any questions? Okay.
How do they sign up for the courses?
So that's all, depending on what it is. We text it out the beginning of a course. We'll send out texts. Really, the most important thing I can tell you is make sure your children are signed up for the texts. It's very easy to do that. They just text hello, really any word, but any word will trigger the registration process. It's a back and forth. You'll be texting back and forth with the bot to create your profile. It's all done by Shecht. And once it's done, they're in the system. They'll get everything. So the number, if you want to write down the number is 226-240 4242. Yeah. Yeah, 226-240-4242. Text any word to that, and it'll start the registration process, and you'll be in the system. Once you do that, you get everything. There's nothing else you need to do. It's nice to follow Instagram. We don't even post half the things we do on Instagram. It's like the greatest hits. There's so many other things that are happening. We don't even have the time or presence of mind to post it on Instagram, because we know we're directly contacting hundreds of students with every text right in their phone. And the texting inbox is the one part of your phone that doesn't have any spam, usually. So it really gets noticed, and it's a very effective way to reach students. So we like it. We're going to stick with it, and that's really the best thing for anybody to do. We have email lists. We have an email list for parents. We send a few emails a semester to parents, sort of updates what's happening. You can sign up for that on our website, jewishwaterloo.com/subscribe. There's a list there called parents. But for the students, the number one thing to do is to sign up for the texts. We also have a very exciting thing is our New York trip. Every fall, we take a bus with, usually we end up joining with a group from Western. We go down to New York for a massive Shabbaton with 1,500 Jewish students from all over North America, Europe. It's a great, great time, and that's a big highlight of the fall semester. So they could look out for that. We have a program that allows students to, if they don't own a pair of tefillin, we will subsidize half of the cost through the head office of Chabad on campus. So if somebody wants to commit to doing tefillin on any regular basis, they have an option to get a grant for that. And there's a number of other offerings along those lines. There's a trip to Poland every winter, and There's learning programs, learning retreats, and many other programs like that that are there to nurture the kids in their Jewish journeys. And fundamentally, we hope that all these programs lead to a relationship between us and the students. The best case scenario is that we actually become close on a personal level. And every Jew ought to have a rabbi that they can text in the middle of the night with a question. And somebody that they feel comfortable talking to about whatever's going on in their life, getting some guidance, getting some insight from a third party who cares about you like family, but isn't biased like family. And I always tell students that we are never going to replace your parents, but you can always have another aunt and uncle, and you should consider Rifki and I to be your aunt and uncle. One of the greatest moments in all the years we've been here on this front was I once got a call about 12:30 a.m. from a student, and I picked up. I said, "What's going on?" Everything okay? He said, "I'm in the emergency room with my friend, and he had done something foolish, gotten himself hurt, and he was afraid to call his parents." And his friend who had gone with him to the emergency room said, "Why don't we just call the rabbi?" I said, "Oh, great idea." So they called me. I talked to them. I went to visit, and eventually he was able to call his parents. But just the fact that you're in the ER in Waterloo and you're terrified of calling your parents because you know they're going to be mad at you, or you think they're going to be mad at you. Who are you going to call? What are you going to do? Oh, the rabbi. Okay, phew. And for me to see that they felt that way was like, that was the biggest nachas of all the work we've done. Any event, all the programs, it's really just a means to an end. The program and the event and the class and all that, it's all a means to an end. And the end goal is that we should have a friendship and a relationship that lasts after graduation as well. So that's really the goal. We love every Jewish student. They're part of our family. Chabad is for every single Jew. Whatever kind of Jew you call yourself, whatever hyphen you put in front of Jew for yourself, we don't care. We don't even know. We don't even ask. It doesn't matter. Every single Jew finds themselves at home here, finds themselves at peace here. We have all kinds of Jews sitting around the same table for Shabbat dinner, the way it's supposed to be. And that's the community that we built here, and that's how it's going to be for as long as we are here. It's going to stay that way. And I want to wish you all lots of nachas from your children. For those of you sending children away for the first time, good luck, deep breath. It's a bit of a roller coaster, but God willing, they'll adjust, they'll do well. Give them the space. You've had all these years to raise them and train them. Believe it or not, they listened. Believe it or not, something went in. They're going to learn from you. They're going to emulate you, and they'll be fine. And we're here to support. And if we can ever do something for your child behind the scenes, you're welcome to reach out to us directly and say, if you think you have some time to take my kid for a coffee, that would be great because they're floundering and I don't want to get involved because they're going to be mad at me. We can surprise your child with a phone call, and we're just that good. We're just that good. But you're welcome to reach out to us anytime. Not a burden. That's why we're here. I always say if people don't reach out to the rabbi or rebbetzin because they're afraid of bothering us because we're so busy, that means that we're just doing paperwork and administrative work and errands, and we'd much rather be dealing with people. So you're doing us a favor. Don't hold back. If we can do anything in your stead, in your place, in your absence, we're here. We're the family we're the home away from home, really. And we're even such a home away from home that we ask students to take out the garbage after Shabbat dinner. That's how much of a home it is. But we keep it very Hamish. Anyhow, if anybody has any more questions, I'll take some questions. And if not, we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, hi. I have a question. Thank you for arranging this. So seeing as Rosh Hashanah works out to be the first Friday night of the school year, are there going to be any events prior to Labor Day or that weekend for the kids to kind of get their feet wet?
Sure. So our welcome barbecue is going to be on the Tuesday, right after they move in, before classes start. So that welcome barbecue is the big icebreaker, the big orientation. It's the first time many students will walk here. Okay, where is Chabad? I'll follow the map and here, oh, that's where it is. Okay. They get their bearings, they meet us, they get a little bit familiar, and then, we take it from there. So even if somebody goes home for Rosh Hashanah, as long as they're there, I would say that's an event that they shouldn't miss. Really. It's a big, big welcome event, and it sets the tone for the year. I've had so many students tell me the barbecue was my entry point, and it was just amazing. Amazing, amazing. It's not the menu. The menu is hot dogs and burgers and chips and watermelon. But it's just being in a place where you left the bubble of Thornhill, you left the bubble of Toronto, you're not on Bathurst anymore, you're not on Olive Branch, and all of a sudden, from the foreign environment of residence and campus, where you suddenly, for the first time, for many kids, it's the first time they're in the minority. It's a very, it's a big upheaval. They come to Chabad, they're standing in the backyard, they're surrounded by 250 of their Jewish peers, and they feel, back home. And it gives them a sense of rootedness and a sense of, connection, sense of community, familiarity, all the good stuff. So I think the barbecue is a really important event to be at. Anybody else? That's it? Okay. Thank you all for joining. I hope this was helpful. I hope this was instructive. If there's anything we can help with, please feel free to reach out anytime. You can reach out to us through the website, jewishwaterloo.com. The emails come directly to me or my wife, and we're happy to be in touch with you with anything we can help with.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you. You're very welcome. Good night,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you.
Shabbat shalom.
Thank you.
Thank
Shabbat
you,
shalom.
Rabbi. Shabbat
Thank
shalom.
you. Thank you. Shabbat shalom.
Take care.
Shabbat shalom.
Thank you.